Welcome into a special edition of a Cubs recap trade deadline chatter. What I'm hearing with 3 weeks to go before the Major League Baseball trade deadline. I'm David Kaplan. It's brought to you by our great partners at Wintrust. They are the exclusive home of Cubs checking. You can go to wintrust.com/Cubs and get your very own Cubs checking account, or you can go to the QR code right on your screen, and the Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealers. They are the official truck partners of the Chicago Bears. So here's what I'm hearing after spending a lot of the holiday weekend working the phones and texting and trying to get as much intel as I can from very good sources in the industry. I'm not talking about media types. Here is what I'm hearing. People in the industry do not believe there will be a number of number one type starters available as of right now on July 7th. Why, you ask? Well, the real story that people aren't talking about, if you go to the wild card standings, let's start in the American League. Right now, the 3 wild card teams are the Yankees, the Rays, and the Mariners. So obviously none of them will be sellers. The Boston Red Sox, who have a guy named Aroldis Chapman, who I think the Cubs would love to have to work with Daniel Palencia at the back end of the pen, they're only 2.5 games out of a wild card spot on the 7th of July. Now, that can all change if you pull a Cleveland Guardians and lose 10 in a row. Right now, the Boston Red Sox are not selling. Absolutely not. What about the Texas Rangers? I was told Jacob deGrom has no interest in waiving his no-trade clause. He wanted to be in Texas for the rest of his career. He's got $95 million left on his contract or thereabouts, and he is not on the trade block at all, even if Texas was to fall out of it. Right now, the Rangers, veteran manager Bruce Bochy, they're in to try and contend and get to the playoffs. Understandable. The LA Angels of Anaheim, 43-46, 4.5 back. At this point, they are telling teams they're buyers, not sellers. Again, that can all change. Then you drop down to Minnesota. This is a big week because the Cubs play at the Twins Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The Twins 5 back in the wild card with a lot of teams to jump. If they have a rough final week before the All-Star break, they absolutely could be in sell mode, and they do have some pitching pieces teams would be interested in. The Kansas City Royals, 5.5 back. Seth Lugo is a guy the Cubs would love to get. Multiple people are telling me. Seth Lugo, second in the Cy Young voting last year. He's having another very good season, and he only has a player option for $15 million next year, which he probably doesn't pick up, and he tries to get a brand new contract from somebody for a lot more money. Watch the Royals and hope that they keep losing. Cleveland, now 7 back in the wild card at 40-48. Absolutely going to be in sell mode. Beyond that, Baltimore's not moving much in terms of players the Cubs, in my opinion, would want. Adley Rutschman's not going to be traded. He's not. Do they have any pitching? Dean Kramer? Maybe. Felix Bautista? Maybe. Luis Severino is a name to keep an eye on with the Athletics. He got a 3-year deal from the Sacramento/Oakland A's, and he took the 3rd guaranteed year. No one else offered a guaranteed 3rd year. His numbers on the road, outstanding. His numbers in Sacramento, which is a small ballpark, not so good. But he could be had. And then the White Sox at 30-60. Watch Mike Tauchman and watch Adrian Hauser. Those 2 guys could absolutely be in play for a multitude of teams, including the Cubs. Go to the National League. You've got the Mets. They are in right now, and Milwaukee in, and San Diego and San Francisco tied for the 3rd spot. The Cardinals, they're not selling to the Cubs anyway, but they're only 1 game out of a wild card. Cincinnati, 2.5 out of a wild card. Arizona, the team to watch, 4.5 back in the wild card, and they've got Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, Eugenio Suarez. Cubs would like to have 2 of those 3. I think they want Merrill Kelly. I think they want Eugenio Suarez. But again, cheer against Arizona at 44-46, 4.5 back. If they go on a little bit of a skid, they're probably in sell mode because those guys are all in the last year of their deals. The Miami Marlins, they absolutely want to trade Sandy Alcantara. They absolutely do. But as one scout said to me yesterday, velocity's back, command is not, and he does not have the type of action he had when he was winning the Cy Young back in 2023 before he ended up having to go through a Tommy John surgery. He was outstanding when the Cubs faced him a few years ago. Outstanding. He's not that guy right now. The Atlanta Braves, 39-50, 9 back. They're probably done in terms of getting to the postseason. However, they believe they can turn this around and contend next year. Chris Sale's out till late August with a rib injury, so he's not going to be traded. Could you pick off a bullpen arm? Maybe a back of the rotation type? Maybe, but they're not trading any of their big guns. Pittsburgh's an interesting one. 11 back in the wild card, playing a little bit better. Mitch Keller, David Bednar. Those are two names the Cubs are absolutely monitoring. I don't believe they want Ke'Bryan Hayes. I don't think he's very good. I'll be surprised if they make that move. Washington just fired their GM and their manager. I do not expect the interim GM to make a ton of moves, and they're 11.5 back, and they're not trading Mackenzie Gore. And then finally, Colorado, 21-69, abysmal. But they do have a couple of relievers at the back end that could pitch 7th, 8th inning for the Cubs. Watch Colorado. That is a possibility. My wish list, I need a top of the rotation starter or a number 2. Get me Seth Lugo from Kansas City. Get me Eugenio Suarez to play third base for the Cubs. Move Matt Shaw into the John Birdie Vidal Brujan type role. Go get me another starter like Adrian Hauser with Tyone on the shelf for more than a month. And then see if you can get me like a David Bednar type reliever if Aroldis Chapman doesn't become available. That's what I'm hearing. Might not be as many high-end fireworks today on July 7th as we're all hoping. So hope some of these teams fall out of contention. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you greatly. Take that.